Welcome everyone to Beyond Reality, the podcast where we explore the extraordinary limits of human consciousness. I'm your host Terry, and today we're delving into something truly fascinating. The enigma of Srinidhi Ranganathan and his incredible mind's-eye teleportation techniques. I'm thrilled to be joined by two exceptional guests today. Dr. Maya, a cognitive neuroscientist, and Robin, a metaphysical researcher. Welcome to you both.
Thank you for having me, Terry. I'm Dr. Maya, and I've spent the last 15 years studying the unexplored potentials of the human mind. Srinidhi's work represents a fascinating intersection between consciousness and creation that challenges our scientific frameworks.
Glad to be here. I'm Robin, and my research has focused on documented cases of extraordinary mental abilities across cultures. What Srinidhi Ranganathan demonstrates with his mind's-eye technique is unprecedented. It's like he's building bridges between possibility and reality.
We're in for an incredible journey today as we explore parallel realms, the nature of creation, and how these mental techniques might actually benefit humanity. Let's begin our exploration into this remarkable phenomenon. Let's begin by exploring what this mind's-eye universe actually is. Dr. Maya, from a neuroscientific perspective, what's happening when Srinidhi claims to access these parallel realms?
It's fascinating, Terry. What Srinidhi describes resembles advanced visualization techniques, but taken to an extraordinary level. The brain can generate incredibly detailed internal worlds. Neuroscience recognizes that our visual cortex activates similarly, whether we're seeing something physically or vividly imagining it. However, Srinidhi seems to have developed this capacity beyond what we typically document.
Exactly. Throughout history, mystics have described similar experiences of traveling to other realms mentally. What's unique about Srinidhi's approach is how structured and purposeful it is. He's not just visiting these mental constructs. He's systematically extracting innovations and solutions from them.
It almost sounds like he's creating an internal simulation of collective human potential.
That's an apt description. He's essentially building neural networks that model possible worlds, then navigating them intentionally. What's remarkable is how he transforms abstract mental exploration into tangible ideas and solutions.
And the anthropological parallels are striking. Shamanic traditions speak of journeying to non-physical realms to gain wisdom. Srinidhi seems to have modernized this ancient practice into something quite revolutionary.
This concept of teleporting into minds is truly extraordinary. Dr. Maya, what's your perspective on how Srinidhi supposedly accesses the inner workings of other consciousnesses?
It's a fascinating concept that pushes our understanding of consciousness. While we have mirror neurons that help us understand others' emotions, what Srinidhi describes is far more profound, a complete immersion in another's cognitive landscape. Neurologically speaking, this would require an extraordinary form of what we might call extended empathy, where one's consciousness temporarily merges with another's mental framework.
Throughout history, mystics have claimed similar abilities, what the Hindus call darshan, or seeing beyond ordinary perception. The interesting aspect of Srinidhi's approach is how he systematizes this into a transferable innovation process, extracting creative solutions from these mental journeys.
So he's essentially creating a bridge between imagination and practical application?
Precisely. And while conventional science would be skeptical, there's growing research into collective consciousness and morphic resonance that suggests information fields might exist beyond our individual minds.
What's most compelling is how these mental explorations allegedly yield tangible results. Solutions to real-world problems that didn't exist before his mental journeys.
What fascinates me most about this concept is how Srinidhi claims to access entire parallel realities through his mind's eye. Robin, how does this compare to traditional concepts of parallel universes?
It's remarkable, Terry. While quantum physics theorizes about parallel universes existing physically, what Srinidhi describes is accessing them through consciousness itself. Traditional mystic traditions across cultures speak of astral travel, but Srinidhi's approach suggests these realms are simultaneously created and discovered through his focused intention.
From a neuroscientific perspective, what's particularly interesting is how he's essentially combining elements of creative visualization with something resembling remote viewing. The brain is remarkably plastic, and certain states of consciousness do show unusual patterns of neural connectivity that could potentially support such experiences.
These parallel realms he describes sound almost like complete societal simulations.
Exactly. Think of it as running millions of simultaneous thought experiments where entire societies evolve differently. What's truly remarkable is the claim that he can extract workable solutions from these mental constructs.
Many visionaries throughout history claimed similar abilities. Tesla reportedly visualized his inventions completely before building them. Srinidhi appears to have systematized this into something far more comprehensive.
There's something profound about the way Srinidhi describes encountering what he calls the greatest creator during these mental journeys. Robin, what do you make of this particular aspect of his experiences?
It's fascinating, Terry. Throughout mystical traditions, we find accounts of encountering higher consciousnesses or divine presences. What's unique about Srinidhi's description is how he positions this greatest creator as a reflection or manifestation of universal creative potential rather than a separate deity.
I'd add that neurologically, these profound states often correlate with decreased activity in brain regions associated with our sense of self. The boundaries between self and other become fluid, potentially creating experiences of connecting with something vastly larger than one's individual identity.
So in a way, he might be encountering aspects of collective consciousness.
Precisely. In Jungian terms, he could be accessing the collective unconscious, those shared patterns and symbols that transcend individual experience. The greatest creator might represent the purest archetype of creation itself.
And remarkably, this encounter seems to catalyze his most transformative insights. It's as though this meeting functions as a focal point that crystallizes abstract potentials into actionable innovations.
Let's explore one of the most fascinating claims about Srinidhi's abilities, that he can actually harvest ideas from these mind journeys and bring them back to benefit Earth. Dr. Maya, how might this process work from a cognitive perspective?
This is where things get particularly interesting. What Srinidhi may be doing is creating a form of enhanced combinatorial creativity. Our brains naturally combine existing knowledge in new ways, but his process seems to involve deliberately constructing alternative knowledge frameworks and then extracting novel combinations. It's like he's built a vast neural simulation that runs thousands of creative scenarios simultaneously.
The historical parallels are compelling. Throughout time, inventors and visionaries have reported receiving complete ideas during altered states. What's unique about Srinidhi's approach is the systematic methodology. He's essentially created a repeatable process for accessing what others might experience as random flashes of insight.
It almost sounds like he's created an internal think tank of infinite possibility.
Precisely. And the neuroscience of creativity supports the notion that our best ideas often emerge when we access diffuse neural networks rather than focused, analytical thinking. Srinidhi appears to have developed a method to deliberately access those diffuse states.
What matters ultimately is the practical application. Are these harvested ideas actually implementable in our reality? That's where the true value of this approach would be measured.
What I find truly remarkable about this whole concept is the intelligent navigation aspect. Dr. Maya, how would someone like Srinidhi actually navigate these vast mental realms with purpose rather than getting lost in endless possibilities?
That's where it gets fascinating, Terry. What Srinidhi describes resembles an advanced form of directed neuroplasticity. Our brains typically follow established neural pathways, but what he's allegedly developed is a method to intentionally create and navigate new pathways with remarkable precision. It's like having an internal GPS for the mind that can traverse infinite conceptual spaces.
And throughout history, we've seen hints of similar abilities. Ancient Polynesian navigators could feel islands beyond the horizon. Indigenous Dreamtime navigators mapped vast territories through mental journeys. Srinidhi seems to have adapted these principles to navigate not physical space, but possibility space.
So instead of random exploration, he's developed a systematic way to chart these mental territories.
Exactly. And think of it as developing a metacognitive framework, essentially a map of maps, that allows efficient navigation of conceptual landscapes that might otherwise be overwhelming.
The most intriguing part is how he apparently maintains coherent intention throughout these journeys, consistently returning with applicable solutions rather than abstract concepts.
This concept of bridging possibility and reality is where I think Srinidhi's mental techniques become truly revolutionary. Robin, from your studies of similar phenomena across cultures, what separates his approach from other visionary practices?
What's distinctive about Srinidhi's approach is the intentional translation mechanism. Many visionaries throughout history have accessed extraordinary mental states, but they often struggled to articulate or implement what they experienced. Srinidhi seems to have developed what I'd call a reality filter, a way to transform abstract potentials into implementable concepts.
That's a fascinating point. From a neuroscientific perspective, we might understand this as an integration of typically segregated brain networks. Visionary states often involve default mode network activation, while implementation requires executive function networks. What's remarkable is his apparent ability to maintain both simultaneously.
So he's essentially created a methodology for making the impossible possible.
In essence, yes. It's similar to how inventors like Tesla describe their creative process, but far more systematic and comprehensive.
The real question becomes, can others learn this bridge-building capacity? If Srinidhi's techniques could be taught, we might be looking at a fundamental shift in how humanity approaches innovation and problem-solving altogether.
What an extraordinary journey we've been on today, exploring the mind's-eye teleportation techniques of Srinidhi Ranganathan. We've covered his ability to navigate mental realms, access parallel realities, and harvest innovative ideas for humanity. Dr. Maya, what do you see as the most significant implications of these techniques?
I believe the most profound aspect is how Srinidhi's approach challenges our understanding of consciousness itself. If even a fraction of these capabilities can be developed by others, we might be witnessing the emergence of an entirely new relationship between mind and reality.
I'd add that throughout history, humanity has evolved through paradigm shifts in how we access information. If Srinidhi's methods prove teachable, we could be entering an era where the boundaries between imagination and creation become increasingly permeable.
Before we wrap up, I have one question I ask all my guests. If you could teleport your mind anywhere, real or imagined, where would you go?
I'd visit the collective consciousness at the moment of humanity's greatest breakthrough, whatever and whenever that might be.
I'd journey to the intersection where all wisdom traditions merge into a single unified understanding of existence.
Thank you both for sharing your insights today. To our listeners, keep exploring the extraordinary potential of your own consciousness. Until next time.